Much debate today as to when the whitetail rut's going to occur each fall here in the north. Well, a number of years ago, as I said in the opening, not only wildlife photographers but also some biologists started to realize that though the breeding was always going to occur in November, some years it was early November, some years mid-November, and there were a handful of years it was late as Thanksgiving week. And nobody could kind of pinpoint exactly why that was occurring. And as we got into the late 80s, into the 90s, the wildlife photographers that were really zeroing in on whitetails started to realize that there was a change going on. Something was a little bit different from year to year. And I can remember that as I was photographing whitetails in the late 80s into the early 90s, I saw that pattern and thought, boy, the moon has to have something to do with this. It had to be more than shortening day length. And that's when I came to meet a guy by the name of Wayne Laroche. Wayne was a wildlife biologist from Vermont. He also happens to be the Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife for the state of Vermont today, but Wayne had already started to look at the moon's impact as well as daylight's impact on the whitetail. And we kind of teamed up because of the fact that I had the ability to be able to observe deer throughout the fall, was always photographing them every single day. We started a research project. And the project is not necessarily set up to do anything relative to biology, but it centers around the fact that we want to give the hunter a tool to know when he needs to be there come November. Because that's critical, because not everybody can hunt the entire month of November. And the individual that's got 1 week to do this is the guy that benefits from this. So basically, as we launched the project, we looked at a lot of different things. We're using a lot of technology. We're using computers and light meters, motion sensing cameras, trail cameras. And to date, we've got over 15,000 computer data points. So we rely heavily on technology. And in the course of doing all of this, and with the help of computers and seeing all the printouts and all of that, we've come to the conclusion that shortening day length and moon phases times when this seeking, chasing, and breeding phase of the rut will occur. And it's turned into a fascinating project. I can tell you it's been very consistent over the 12 years that we've done this research. We've heard from, boy, hundreds and hundreds of deer hunters across North America. And though we started it with just 2 of us 12 years ago, we've got 35 serious people that are helping us today along the way. So when it comes to timing the whitetail rut, you're really looking at shortening day length throughout the fall. As that daylight gets shorter and shorter and shorter, the stage is set for the rut to explode. But you really need a starter gun. And that starter gun is the second full moon after the autumn equinox. And this fall, 2007, that full moon will occur 26 October. Now understand that about every 3 years, this nearly repeats itself, and about every 8 years, it's almost identical. So this fall, if hunters across North America have kept any journals, look at what happened in 2001. Because in 2001, what we call the rutting moon, the second full moon after the autumn equinox, occurred November 1st. So this year, 2007, that full moon will hang in the sky 26 October. A couple of days before that full moon, it'll look full to we as humans, but those bucks will really start to seek. Now, it's not going to be the peak of the rut, it's the beginning of the rut. Understand, we're talking about a 40-day process here. This is not a 100-yard dash. It's a process. It has to begin somewhere. Full moon hangs in the sky, bucks start to move. Matter of fact, you see a lot of deer car collisions at that time. About 3 days after that full moon, now we're inching towards Halloween this year, you're going to start to see bucks ramp it up even more and start to chase. And then like 2001, you're going to start to see a lot of breeding going on that first week in November. And then you're going to have about a 2-week period where it's kind of like lockdown time. Activity may well drop off because you're going to see those being bred, not a lot of great activity. So somewhere between 3 and 14 November can be a lot of breeding this year. So that's kind of how the whole thing's going to cycle. So there are 3 phases: the seeking, chasing, and breeding phase. Now when you start to talk about moon phases, people invariably want to say, hey, what is the best phase of the moon to hunt? Well, it's going to be either seeking, chasing, or breeding. Not everybody wants to hunt the same way. If you want to hunt in that full moon period, it may be a little bit more difficult because you could quite possibly see a lot of deer activity when that moon's in the sky at night. But I can tell you early in the morning, we have found that about 7:45 in the morning is great activity. So you get a hit in the morning, you get another great hit in the afternoon. One key here is going to be that the air temperature is at normal or below normal. If that happens, you'll see activity. Now, as you inch away from the full moon, the nights are starting to get darker and darker. And as that occurs, you're going to start to see chasing. That's the time I want to be hunting, because during the chase phase, I know that the testosterone in that buck is maxed out. I know he's looking for hot does. He is ready to go. He's kind of like got ADD, attention deficit disorder. He is on the fly. He's not eating, he's not bedding, he's looking for does. He's chasing almost every doe he sees. He's kind of predictable because he's going through those pinch points, those travel corridors or funnels. He's making a lot of scrapes, he's making a lot of rubs. He's responding to a deer call. So for Charlie Elsheimer, if I had to pick a time, my prime time is going to be 7 to 10 days after the full moon, the second full moon after the autumn equinox. I know that that's going to be the greatest opportunity for me to kill a buck.